Obiene, a socio-political analyst. Pat, welcome and thank you for joining me. Finally, I have you on my show again. Welcome, Pat.
I'm glad I'm here. Good morning to our viewers.
And also joining me on my show today is an economist, Dandy Loveday. Good morning, Dandy, and welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you, Dandy.
Thank you very much.
And on to the story. Senate on Thursday passed for second reading the tax reform bills forwarded to it by President Bola Tinubu in October 2024. The passage followed a debate among the lawmakers. The bill was thereafter referred to the Committee on Finance, which was asked to revert in not more than 6 weeks. Before the debate, the lawmakers had earlier gone into about an hour closed-door session. On their return from the executive session, the Senate leader, Obayemi Bamidele, APC Ekiti Central, led the debate on the bill. The 4 tax bills sent to the National Assembly include the Nigerian Tax Bill 2024, which is expected to provide the fiscal framework for taxation in the country, and the Tax Administration Bill, which will provide a legal framework for all taxes in the country and reduce disputes. Others are the Nigeria Revenue Service Establishment Bill, which will repeal the Federal Inland Revenue Service Act and establish the new service, and the Joint Revenue Board established Siriake Dixon, PDP Bayelsa West, and Taher Mongunu, APC Borno North. However, in an opposing voice, Senator Ali Ndume, APC Borno South, asked that the bill be stepped down for further consultation. He said, "Generally, the bill is good, but I have issues with the timing and most importantly, issues surrounding derivation and VAT." When the Senate President Godswill Akpabio put the passing of the bills to a voice vote, the majority of the lawmakers shouted, "Aye." Akpabio then hit the gavel in support of the ayes. Let me start with you, Dandy Loveday. What do you make of this tax reform bill passing second reading?
You know, the eyes will always have it.
The nays will have their say, but the eyes will have it.
The eyes will have it. But it's because it will affect most states, especially states that do not have companies' headquarters located in there.
But other states will now start enjoying, as long as the company, you know, is there.
You know, if you check the concern raised by Ali Ndume, he's even saying, if you check the northern region, if you check our tax system, the commodities like that of the alcoholic, beer, all of them and all that, have more taxation on them. And then if you check the northern region, these drinks do not even go over to the north.
They don't accept it.
They don't accept it.
So why would they be benefiting from what they don't accept?
So it means they are also going to benefit from it.
And that isn't that why one of the reasons why it's being kicked against? Because in the first instance, if you say you do not want this, your religion or whatever belief you have, which is well respected, you don't want that. So why would you benefit from that which you call an abomination?
So, and they're also looking at it that the northern region may not be making more money from the country as a whole.
When you say the northern region will not be,
yes,
Dandy, because you just raised a very important aspect of this whole conversation. When you say the northern region will not be making as much money as other regions, and that economy is largely, in fact, the economy of Nigeria is relying on oil, production of oil. From what region exactly? From the south. Now, when we look at it now, the north has gold in humongous quantities as well. Let's when we do a comparative analysis of countries like Saudi Arabia, you know, their economy is dependent on gold and also oil. But gold, they mine gold and they trade in gold, and their economy is dependent heavily on gold. Even UAE, I can go on to most Arabian countries trade in gold. Now, gold is heavily. We get to that. Let me get from Pat Obiene. Pat Obiene, what do you make of this tax reform bill passing the second reading? Do you think it is being hastily done? What's the rush?
I guess that you just get out of my mouth hastily, yes. Beyond that, you're dealing with, first on the face value, good. all over the world, developing economies, tax system is central to their economic growth and their socio-political well-being. Hence, even down here, we easily say anytime there is infringement, maybe by law enforcement agencies or unruly public officers, we are quick to say, is it not with my taxpayers' money? You remember, we are quick to make that reference. That's to show you how critical it is that everything surrounding the economy and governance is actually traced to the kind of tax system. Now, mind you, Nigeria operates a decentralized tax system, wherein the levels of government are independent to appropriate specific tax. Hastily, why? The present structure allows the federal government to take what you call companies tax, stamp duties, excise duties, custom duties, and even withholding tax. The state governments are limited to just salary, wages, and withholding tax. The local governments are limited to just levies, right? Now, there's no argument in recent past. I think Rivers State was one of such, approached the law courts to explain who has the legal right over VAT, value-added tax.
Yes.
I'm glad we had observed that part of the age-long socioeconomic imbalance, that you have a section, we consume alcohol even in two ways, both for pleasure and a lighter note, even to our detriment. Then somebody else claimed that within the same Nigerian political economy, that his religion prohibits that item. But practically, you take this tax and go develop him, in other words. Now you're planning to make a reform, right? The issue of companies' income tax.
Yes.
We had noticed that part of the economic imbalance, like President Tinubu admitted in his this year June 12 broadcast, this age-long devil philosophy of using one commodity called crude oil from one section of the country to determine a national budget. Now, if you take it one after the other of such levels, you're already dealing with, you are told by both national and international agencies that over 70% of your population are below the poverty line. And the first definition says personal income tax. So first of all, the man you want to tax must be somebody who is privileged to a source of income. In the circumstance, the other countries see the tax to swelling their revenue, that is boost their revenue. Here, you're dealing with a system where the available revenue goes to just consumption. You're not plowing it back to create opportunities so that the citizens are in a position where they will be taxable. You don't refer to derivation. It's exactly what we mean by how long shall you continue with crude oil to service a 36-state federating unit. You have a Adamawa diamond in commercial quantity, Niger State gold and Nasarawa in commercial quantity. Now, I remember the former governor then 2016 carried out an unplanned visit to Niger State and found the Botswanas, the Chinese, the Chadians mining gold without remitting to the same Federal Revenue Service they are repealing now to now call National Revenue Service. So it is not about the nomenclature. It's about, first of all, understand the prevailing circumstance. If you say companies, you don't limit it again to the federal. That was an obnoxious arrangement. The companies are situated in the component units. So I can't be socioeconomic injustice that needs to be addressed, and that's what Ndume refers to, derivation. So what are you deriving? The man who farms rice, how do you derive his tax and revenue? The man who is mining gold, how has he? You yourself has admitted that many of them who mine this gold don't remit. So it's not an imbalance. Right. You only remit from my crude oil and gas. I don't even get a fair share of it. You take it elsewhere. The man has some revenue. But we are not in a position to also ask him and even ascertain. I said because the tax regulation includes, the administration of tax includes assessment and evaluation. You know. Now they wouldn't support the other lap of it, which is property income tax. Property tax rather. That is, Otherwise, they won't be settling for 160 million thousand cost of promoting dividend of democracy. So it's unfortunate that Nigerians should realize that the only option left to us now is for good men and women to come together, prepare themselves to organize themselves to a point where we can form our own political party and take over from these very, dishonorable men and women who don't have our interests at heart. Because if somebody points out what will make that good intention you have work, and you feel bitter, you feel angered, you don't want to listen to it. From the beginning, it shows that you don't even have a serious good intention if there's any expression like that.
All right, Pat. Now, you raised certain concerns. The first one was generating this tax. You talked about the budget being financed in personal income tax.
Yes.
And the effects and what can be
yes.
What's being achieved.
It has two purposes.
Considering
increase revenue, check corruption, financial corruption.
Now, when you look at the personal income tax, what is going on now with the current tax reform, it appears that perhaps the revenue from personal income tax might reduce and not increase. Now, let's look at...
No, Choma, sorry to add, you know that now you're struggling with your 30,000 minimum wage. Those some had moved to 70,000 also. You have another section of the work population who are in the oil and gas sector. You imagine, for example, you have a welder earning over 500,000 naira, a pipe fitter within that neighborhood, right? And it goes on in their various cadre.
They're 1.6 million, from 1.6 million, 21%, and then above 3.2 million, 24%. However, this current tax reform bill is projecting 800,000. Anybody that earns 800,000 naira annually, no revenue. No person doesn't pay tax, no payee. The person doesn't pay any payee. But from 2.2 million, the person pay 15%. Assets, but before, for people that earn 1.6 million annually, pay 21%. But in this new tax reform bill, 21% now is for people that earn 13 million. 9 million, 18%, 30 million annually, 21%, 25 million. When you look at it, it appears that when it comes to the personal income tax, the government, there was considerable reduction being made. So what it means that people earning minimum wage will not pay VAT. It goes beyond companies. Individuals pay VAT. When supermarkets to buy
directly and indirectly.
It's just that people have not taken time to look at they pay VAT for every single purchase made from shops. Yeah. Because they will just give you your slip. They will not tell you. They will just give you your slip and tell you, oh, ma'am, this is your amount you pay. But when you look at that slip, you will see the VAT. You pay hospital bill. When they give you the slip, you will see the VAT. You pay hotel bill. Even food ordered in the hotel, you see the VAT there.
Those are indirect. They are called indirect tax.
So now, what it means, we pay 7.5% VAT on everything we buy.
Even with the biscuits. How many Nigerian workers, whatsoever you're receiving, how many Nigerian workers are receiving from 2 million up in the civil service? And then when you talk about the indirect tax, the indirect tax is there. Almost everybody is involved in it. How do you know if you're not paying tax or not? Oh, I'm a business person. Now, more of this, as if you say you want to deal on sole proprietorships and you want to know how to tax them, it's easy to calculate. Now, in this case, you're taxing an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur who is supplying the business into the market system is now also placing the tax on such commodity because the motive of that business is to make profit. Will I come and explain to the consumers that have placed tax, the money you're paying, this is why the cost of the price of such commodity is at this rate? Nobody explains that. So it means that this is also the part the government, I think they were very careful in placing these aspects. And then it's not very clear if you want to. And then this current government is placing itself as if it's a government that is just generating fund. You generating fund from stoppage of subsidy, and that has even led us to the inflation level we are battling now.
You've not gone to CBN rates. The steady increments of interest by CBN. I can go on and on about CBN fiscal policies? Are we talking about the increment in banking system? What they tax
A lot, yes.
Nigerians in banking system, they will surcharge you for card maintenance even when you don't have a card.
And even exactly.
They will surcharge you for every single transaction made. They surcharge you for monies being credited.
Yes.
They surcharge for debits, they surcharge for credit, they surcharge for everything. They surcharge for things you don't even
criminally.
Yes.
They subject for even not touching the money for a long time.
And that's
Just days ago from my son's account, I was shocked. From a certain amount, XYZ, over a reasonable amount was off. Till now, we're still wondering how. We want to go and find any day from, I'm going to close that. Some social justice. That is, I shouldn't wake up, like, look at other organized societies, even your pipe-borne water, your tax, your power supply. Look, recently was the EFCC. The collapse, national grid collapse. Yes, that come out. It's fake. That there is nothing like a collapse. That all the capital investments. Why we must point out this is that we are trying to look at the timing. What is the justification? You are encouraging consumption without regenerating. You put in money. Power supply is central to boost the economy or economic activities. From where now you can be in a fair position to tax your citizens and transactions. You don't want to give attention to that. Now, somebody consumes what ordinarily is expected to regenerate, and you don't punish the person. You say rather than punish the person and recover whatever is available, let's go and borrow some extra and put back to that place that there was a wastage. Now, in your calculation, the only way you can quickly make up for whatever deficit and the cash crunch you're suffering now is to come and impose and create a tax system where you feel that Nigerians must be made to increase whatever they are paying. We understand these things. That is why we will not accept it. First of all, let us address the basics of derivation. We're a federation. We have said it's a lie that you take from one. The lopsidedness is just so unforgivable. Let us have every state bear your burden. Then define specifically the kind of things you tax. If thank God under even Fashola states, before now the governors thought that it was the exclusive preserve of the federal government to go into power production and distribution. No. Now it is clear that the states have a legal right to do so. So what the state need is economic right. It's like, okay, if states have crude oil, let them have the economic right to go about exploration and production. Then they will be in a fair position to also go into power generation, distribution, and transmission. Then let us take it from there. When that happens, you will find that the states will be in a fair position now to place its citizens in a taxable position. Because before you tax, the man must be taxable. Right? Yeah. Now, the way it is going in Nigeria, for people to even afford, a whole lot of people have stopped their kids from school, can't afford health service, can't afford this. Is it the fundamental, is it in that circumstance you can tax them? So clearly you are busy doing nothing because the whole aim is to regenerate the economy. But we are saying that it's like a tripartite thing, you won't gain a balance. You keep, suffocating just one source from one region. And all that you get, look at the Afrexim Bank 2.2 billion they borrowed. It will all be serviced from one commodity called crude oil. In fact, I was so surprised that President Tinubu didn't even have any sense of remorse to, on a national broadcast, admit that even in the other countries, the president will find it difficult to even say it out. So now your size of governance, bloated convoys and PAs and all that, and all these people are depending on just that same source. There is no budget. Let's forgive the military days. 25 years of democratic experience is always hinged on $67 oil benchmark. And all this, that's why I see them. They know that, do you know why the hasteness? They know very well that they are supposed to be the first target. That you can't sit down here in the face of scarce resources, you arrogate 160 million.
It has to do with the tax system and then borrowing. But one concern I must raise here is this. Why is it that this particular government is basically dealing on taxation? Very well, they are taking tax from almost every angle outside the removal of subsidy. And then we are still going into borrowing. No. And then nothing is changing.
Like, for example, the custom duties now, take for example, when last did you hear a declaration of what was realized, the level of the amount of tax realized from custom duties? When last? Stamp duties, when last?
Well, with respect to what you have said, recently when these agencies had a meeting with the National Assembly, from all that they said, apparently they had generated revenue. Hence, the president coming out to say, "Oh, there is a 3.46% increment in the GDP and all of that." Now, one of the questions the Senate now asked Minister of Finance Wale Edun and other people, they asked them, if you people have generated so much money within this space of time, how come the presidency or the federal government is asking for loan? How come the presidency is asking for loan approval to the tune of trillions when you people have made over 4 or 5 times the money that the presidency is asking for in a loan? Wale Edun responded and told them that, well, it is your job to approve the loan. You understand?
Yes.
You can see the disregard. You can see the level of disregard.
They asked and they approved. Now, doesn't that also go to show, or is it not an expose of how, if one may say ignorant, the National Assembly tends to be in matters like this? Because, I mean, a loan is presented and you have not asked what is the income so far. You have not asked what is the IGR. You have not asked what is the GDP. You just go ahead and approve loans. And I mean loans that are approved with the speed of light. And you wonder, at what point did the Committee on Finance take their time to do due diligence on these loans? At what point were these loans being debated on the floor of the House? You do not, I have not heard so far that the federal government has, or the president has applied for approval from the Senate for a loan, and the Senate asked the president to step down this amount.
What was it? That was the same loan that under live television. The Senate president said, "I can't. This money too much for me to pronounce." Was it? That was the way he was trying to read it out. It was so much too long for him to pronounce. And then this loan, this was even passed. Again, I want to ask, at what ratio? How did you calculate our GDP level? How did we know that the GDP has risen? At what's our production capacity? What new did we do? Did we go into production? Did we go into industrialization? How did we know that our GDP is rising? Is it by accumulating income to now know that our GDP? What are you putting it? Where are you investing it? Where are you channeling the development to?
You know that the last protest was tagged "End Bad Governance." A society where you find good governance is in instances like this. You are faced with your presented a plan to borrow a new one. It's your constitutional, social, moral responsibility to interrogate the success, challenges, and chances of the previous monies borrowed, and what has been the positive impact on the national economy or even subnational. There is no such conversation. You see, from the beginning, some of us knew, were not surprised. The manner in which the Akpabio leadership emerged was, it's out of this world. It defies all known democratic principles, and constitutionalism. To the extent that the constitution, even as deficient as it is, provides that it is members of the National Assembly that have a right to produce their principal members. For the first time within the Nigerian political economy, or in the history of Nigerian political, we had the president, who is the leader of a different arm of government, boldly coming out to tell us that he decides who gets what and who gets what. So, to that extent, you don't expect any form of, any element of good governance, where you find the legislative arm that is actually the embodiment of the people, checking the excesses of the executive. Because clearly these are all indications of these guys are bereft of ideas. First of all, they are not even ready for leadership. Otherwise, how could we be this blessed? Look at the irony. He just returned from Brazil, the G20. I went searching. None of those countries will have that kind of intimidating and outrageous debt profile, local and international. Now look at the irony. You just came hours. Go back and check the records. Hours from Brazil. Everyone was hopeful to say, what we are going to hear is that you're coming back with very lofty ideas from member countries to say, we're going to assist you, your public refineries going to work optimally. this is another way. Crude oil has over 6,000 byproducts. We're going to assist you, since what qualifies the G20 is developing economies on critical issues. So, but guess what? The good news we got was, I'm preparing to go and borrow. Look at the irony.
$2.2 billion.
You know, equal to 1.7 trillion. Now, and Nigerians didn't bother to even show concern to say, this is unheard of. You just returned from an event that member countries, there are secret factors that have led them to where they are in a very considerable and stable conditions. Why don't you come? What we should hear is that these are some of the ideas they shared with me, the way we can improve. Rather, you said, so personally, I was highly taken aback, and I couldn't believe that this is happening to us. You know, so that in itself is sufficient to prove that these guys didn't come prepared for leadership. Neither do they have a clear understanding of the Nigerian socio-economic crisis. Otherwise, what is there? Look at the Petros visited President Tinubu at the verge of, I think towards the close of the bad governance protest. And said, look, we realize that it's not about brute force. That we think there is urgent need to organize a constituent assembly and let's have a referendum. He said he's busy with economic reform. When the average somebody else appears, he says from Obiakpo, he pays something. Before he will begin to arrange his business place, somebody else appears, says the state internal board revenue, whatever. So you cannot on your own. And this culture of not actually, exhausting debates with the people must be highly condemned. In fact, Nigeria should rise up and begin to, we need to criminalize this thing they take as sitting allowance. In UK, the place is all this country. See, President Tinubu should be asked, look at how he's busy, he has energy and time traveling. These countries didn't vote for him. We actually voted, okay, even if personally I didn't vote, but with due respect. But those who voted, why can't we see him returning back to them? We say, look at Buhari did the same thing, he is doing the same thing. I've observed this trend. You hardly see, in time of national economic crisis like this, you see the president consider it necessary. Even if it's not state by state, but perhaps you just take a zone, you come sit with us. I recall then George Bush Jr. at some point taking Americans and saying he's going to prosecute Saddam in Iraq. At the point he came back, over 70% of the other, he stood not like this one here, they make the man to sit down. As a leader, you stand.
All right.
And over 70% of the other students, George Bush stood and was taking questions and providing answers. In fact, some questions will come repeatedly. Say, George Bush, you must tell us why you take our resources to go and prosecute.
I feel like, from what you're saying, I feel like even throwing a point. You're talking about the president coming to sit. Now, those you
have people.
Those you elected to represent
at the House of Reps,
Senate. In fact, let them not even go for the councilor.
Perhaps they are waiting for him. They are waiting for him to lead by example.
I think at this point, probably looking at the Senate and the House of Reps, probably might be going too far away. Let's come back home to the state houses of assembly.
That's the issue.
Now the question is, why aren't the state houses of assembly speaking out? That should be the question. Why aren't the state houses of assembly speaking out? Because apart from the fact that we have people representing us at the national, we also have these people representing us at the state. So if state houses of assembly add their voices, to certain concerns that are being raised about the tax reform, to a large extent, probably the National Assembly would have to have a rethink.
Jama, I'll tell you something. Sorry to cut in. You see, like the preacher man, some will take principles of the good book to say, for any deliverance that must be permanent, you must trace the time of affliction. The Nigerian crisis actually is afflicted by obnoxious federal laws. Right? If we draw that analogy. So the president, too powerful, of course, is debatable that he's the strongest president in the world. The Nigerian president, too much powers.
In the world of Africa.
Africa, maybe some are even extending it to the world. Because we've seen even across the world, like I cited US, very humble. Here, they make you feel as if you're a demigod. So probably these lawmakers, there's a culture, party after party, that's the culture they've created. So if they see the president taking the lead to say, this one the president is coming to hear directly from the people, we're in trouble, because if the president finished taking notes of all the people are saying directly to him, then there is little or nothing we as senators, House of Rep members, State Assembly can do. So now that the president is promoting the culture, we know before now it was like this. Now we can see a president who has the energy and time to come visit the people, come close, either stand or sit patiently and take notes from the people, compare notes. So therefore, we as senators, it is now a new culture or a policy for us to retire back to our constituency anytime there is need to create reforms like this or formulate policies and programs. So it's all because it is the federal laws, the obnoxious everything that is wrong with the Nigerian rules, regulation, and procedure are all traced to obnoxious federal laws. So it will take a federal leader, in this case the president, to demonstrate a different value system, which includes begin to visit the component, the federating units. Let Akpabio see that you're willing to come and sit with us. Akpabio will not have choice to also encourage his members to start going back to their constituencies.
All right. Now, talking about dialogue from the federal angle, House of Representatives Committee on Review of the 1999 Constitution as amended on Thursday announced that it will hold a national dialogue on local government autonomy on Monday, 2nd December 2024 in Abuja. Deputy Speaker Honorable Benjamin Kanu disclosed this in Abuja while briefing members of the Special Ad Hoc Committee on Constitution Review on the agenda. He explained that the forthcoming national dialogue on local government autonomy aims to consolidate ideas for a robust discourse on the independence of local government administration in Nigeria. He said that in addition, there will be a public engagement on tax reforms as it concerns the constitutional amendment and a public engagement with political parties. Honorable Carlo also announced that the Special Ad Hoc Committee will commence zonal public hearings in January 2025. This followed the resolution of the Committee on Locations of the Public Engagement. He said that the hearings will take place in 12 states representing the 6 geopolitical zones. The states include Gombe and Borno, Northeast, Nasarawa and Niger, North Central, Kaduna and Sokoto, Northwest, Enugu and Imo, Southeast, Bayelsa and Cross River, South-South, and Lagos and Ondo, Southwest, respectively. Honorable Kanu, who emphasized the importance of inclusivity, encouraged committee members to engage with their respective state caucuses, governors, members of state houses of assembly, political parties, and all other stakeholders to ensure the success of the exercise. Dandy, what do you make of this? Now, probably there is going to be a national dialogue
on the
local government autonomy. And they also said that tax reform will also be part of it.
Because even the tax reform is not constitutional. They say it's not in our constitution. So they are trying to now fix it in the constitution. And then the local government autonomy, I think we've dwelled so much on this local government autonomy issue. Even the Supreme Court have made mention, have made a ruling or judgment on this local government autonomy. I think that should also give the National Assembly the rights to proceed and then
with
make sure with the amendment. Yes, if it's added or if it's included in our constitution, it makes it very well. But the Supreme Court has made a pronouncement on it. There's nothing to stop it.
So the thing is just to amend the constitution.
Yes, just amend it, and that makes it even faster.
So now that they want to hold a national dialogue, I mean the House of Reps, with regards to the amendment of the local government autonomy, do you see changing anything? But
again, I don't also, the reason is I don't even see changing anything. If the Supreme Court have made a pronouncement on
why don't you go ahead and...
why not? Yes. So what are you even calling for the dialogue? What are you calling for people's opinion? Will it change what the Supreme Court have already pronounced?
No.
Okay. Pat, go ahead.
Difference. The Supreme Court limited its pronouncement to financial autonomy.
No, there are other areas of that Supreme Court judgment.
No.
With regards to the powers of state houses of assembly, it was also part of the Supreme Court judgment in paragraph 16.
We're not talking about it was more like the shadow. So this one is the real thing.
All right.
That is economic autonomy, economic rights, like Atakaburu put it. Give me my economic rights. Yes, the state and the central government is what is known in the federation. But the state in turn, within the state has powers to create LGs, right? That was part of what gave then as governor of Lagos State, local development authorities. Now, that re-emphasizes what we've submitted earlier looking at the tax reform, that you can't pretend, shy away from the fact that these companies' environmental laws. In 1999, the Norway legislature stepped down environmental laws to the extent that, like what you have here now, there is a speech somewhere. The Mohan local government chairman is limited. Can do this. He waits for somebody called Nozra from Abuja. Before the man gets the evidence, is destroyed. So these societies realize that no, in a federation, the man who actually suffers, who bears the brunt first, should have the political and economic rights to decide. Right? You as central government, your functions and responsibilities are limited. Concern yourself with more of diplomatic affairs, military maintenance, and that's your business. Don't worry. Me as a local authority, since I will just agree what percentage I give to you. It's like the organic nature of the tree. It's fine blossom up there, but the real nutrient is drawn from the root. The local government is like the root. In UK, the only place you have crude oil in the north, they should have the economic right to explore the oil there. By 1974, the UK Parliament accepted and passed it into a law. Hence, that's why till date now, the Shetland Island Council in Aberdeen, they are the best. There is a local, just like Bonnet, my maternal home, Bonnet Island. They are the best in fabricating, manufacturing oil and gas accessories. That so much of what we have here go to buy from there. So if here, under local government autonomy, incidentally, I'm an oil-bearing local government, and I have the economic rights to explore, produce, and sell. As well, this question of unemployment, no job, the only job for the boys to do is for self-serving politicians to get them, instead of carrying steel, metal, fabricated pipes that can transport water, oil, and gas, they carry AK-47. You see the irony? The gun is also a metal. So the actual, in real sense, it's supposed to be oil and gas pipe that they're supposed to be wielding about. Either they call themselves Daywell and Daybam. But because the local authority is suffocated, right? He wakes up every day. He sees a man with coverall, calls himself XY Oil Drilling Limited. But he has no economic rights to relate with him. So now you are created in development trust in those areas.
Because I wanted to go into that. If you're explaining this, if you explain the local government autonomy to this essence, it looks so nice the way you explained it.
But that's
now again, if that's it, we're talking about a centralized VAT system. So between the local government, the states, who pays to who?
Yes, don't forget.
That's one. Secondly, even the state,
yes,
that is as if it has its autonomy. The federal government still control the security architecture.
Those are the things that
electricity is also from the federal.
That is
so
where
will the state come in?
Exactly. The state
outside financial autonomy.
The state is an imagination. If you ask me now to point at River State, I can't point at anywhere. But if you say, show me Eleme local government, I can point. If you say, show me Ikwere local government, I can point. If you say, show me Bonnet local government, I can point. If you say, with a national, you say, show me Nigeria, I can't show you anywhere. But if you say, show me Lagos, I can point. Show me Bonu, I can point. So that's it's a principle. It's about regulation, rules, and procedure. All you need is to have robust debate. That let's agree that based on where these activities take place. That's why I was quick to cite Norway. They realize that no, the local persons where this man is operating, where his economic activity is actually taking place, they suffer the negative. This thing you call EI. It's like days ago now, I was the road we call the Poli. I see the people crying water, government call Channel Road. I raised the question. I said, before the company that went there to fix that portion, didn't they submit what they call EIA? And it's very pathetic, as enlightened as we are. You know, it was almost converted to Kenu or Flamboat. As you approach from Rumokoro, approaching where they call is it in Paul or something. You know, so that right to interrogate, even a company comes, the local government should have that political right, that economic right, to say, Mr. XYZ company, are you here to construct this road? Please, can you submit your EIA?
So now, if I understand what you're saying, Pat,
yes,
you're actually pushing for more powers to be domiciled with the local government.
Yes, because to the extent that the resources will be sufficient that they create their own county police, which you will call it council. In the other side, it's called county. It's a derivative to council.
But local governments are running vigilantes.
No, I don't like that.
You want
what is primitive.
Federal road. So how much more will the local government have the power to go and interrogate?
That is the essence of this public hearing now. We are being viewed, right? We're here to provide solutions.
Yes.
What you say? Look, I don't like dwelling the way it is. It is how can we change it?
Be.
Yes, the way to change it. We can't condemn. Our fathers made this mistake. We can forgive them. Now we have opportunity to correct the wrong. So we are saying that in other federations, we are not the only federation, and come with a universal presidential system. So if you say you want your Federal Republic of Nigeria, perhaps you need to go and consult your Oxford Dictionary. It talks about the company have a right to decide its affairs. Emphasis. If you go and check federation, federalism, federal, these three phrases, you will see the reoccurrence of that expression. Decide a system wherein the company decide its affairs. Now these affairs you can broader open it to include all these activities I'm pointing out. So it's beyond just financial autonomy. I am free from the governor not to give me what he feels he's giving me and control my next election. It's far beyond that. I'm saying, yes, it's good. Don't control my election. If I'm financially independent, yes, it's like he will pay the piper. I am free. But I'm saying that beyond my election, the other people carrying out economic activities within my domain, I should be able to assert some level of authority. I should be able to say, I can't be waiting for somebody call XYZ now. Look at the distance. And come to somebody, look at the logistics. Can't you see up to days ago, you hear committees, we know go agree, you've not employed our son for 20 years ago. You've not done. Some of these things you even approach the company, it's not their duty. Right? So the local government autonomy is actually at the heart of what you call a federal system. The state too should excuse himself for certain things. Like, look at some of the things you find the state governor going to do. For example, going to rehabilitate internal roads. That shouldn't be the function of a governor.
Now, from what you're saying,
that should be the function of a local authority.
From what you're saying now, it appears that much of the responsibility of governance will now fall back to if the greater bulk of governance fall back to the people.
Yes.
How will they be able to do that, considering that in the sharing of derivation, according to, you realize that in the sharing formula, the local government will has lesser income, but more responsibilities,
which is unjust.
So why you are pushing for more governance to fall back to the local government? It is also very important to understand that according to the state might have lesser responsibilities, but more money to spend.
Good, which is the case currently.
Lesser money to spend with more
if you are listening, you see me repeatedly using the phrase, I say economic rights. That's what I mean. That's what it means. Economic rights means that the current formula where you think you do little or nothing but take much resources must be corrected. And this lawmaker are afraid of that because of their laziness.
That's the point.
So that is what the people must rise up. They must cure that demon.
You know why you say the people?
If you say, for example, now, yes, because they brought. Look at now. If you observe daily, those manufactured biscuits, do you know everybody? There's somebody up to yesterday in my neighborhood, we are laughing over it. Biscuit manufacturers, they've downsized the size of the carton. Certain oils, let's not give free advert. There is certain cooking oils. The pack is bloated, but the quantity is very small. Do you know it's very small? You can go to prison for that. Right. Citizens have a right. So the same way the electorates must realize it's not about gnashing teeth, going to pray to God, being in a building, saying you're in church, clapping hands. It is the actual spirituality of God. Is the ability to come together and challenge the government. Right. These lawmakers, the constitution has a mechanism to recall them. Right. Where you fail to come and listen to what we are saying. That look, the only way this local government autonomy can be sustained, because it's not just about leaving monies in the hand of the chairman. Like in other cities, the police, they prepare budget for even the police. The councillors, this is what we call councillors. They prepare budget for council police. Like the state house will prepare for state police.
Right. The only way the LG autonomy will schedule, the dialogue issue now will schedule and be successful, is for us to kick corruption, greed and selfishness. Who are the rep members? Most of the rep members are very loyal to the state governors, are also very loyal to even the presidency, to even their political party, and they may not even want to allocate such power. even try to release all power from the governor, reduce the power of the governor or the presidency down to the local government as it ought to be. Just
they let us mobilize and recall them.
How do you mobilize? The one we even protested, one came out of it. So that's why I say recall. We know that
recall is constitutional. Recall is your legitimate. So they won't argue your protesting.
How easy is it to recall a sitting out? Like, we Nigerians need to go home and research the procedures for recall.
Yeah.
To section 69.
Recall is constitutional. However, it is almost impossible with the way it was crafted.
Who has been recalled?
Yes, it's not.
Who has been recalled?
It's not. See, don't promote the name of the demon. Right now, let's invoke more of the Holy Spirit. Because the stakeholders, for example, part of the right activity is also so when you finish talking. But sorry, sir, you will soon tell me that you can't afford school fees again, and the roads are getting bad, the prices are skyrocketing. They are all traced to this man you think is not your right to recall. Now, if you don't want to listen to some of us in the rights community, let us use the pulpit power. Because it appears majority of us, the electorates, I can see that the only stakeholders or leaders who tend to adhere now and very committed to are our preacher men. And it has happened in other societies. The great Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., you're not the first preacher man. A social struggle for social justice. A day came, the man took the pulpit to the road. So two-thirds is what is section 69. All you need is to take a petition. Go around the same energy, you go to stand under the sun and the rain.
The petition says it is the people that voted.
That is what I'm saying. The same way you get the list.
Hold on.
I'm trying to explain the
people that voted for you.
That is what I'm saying.
That can recall you.
I can, as a stakeholder in a particular voting constituency.
Yes.
All I need, I don't need everybody. What I need is two-thirds. I get the single petition, right? Submit to INEC. INEC in turn comes to conduct a referendum. That is what he requests. Now, I only need publicity. No, I can't legally. Let me go to the court and let the court prove it's wrong.
Who are they to third? Station. When you are talking, and the moderator is saying, "Hold on, Pats, hold on."
Forgive me, but I need to be factual.
No, you have been. No, you are.
This opportunity. We are trying to.
Open for advert placements, bookings, and commercials. You can connect with us on all our ATN socials: Facebook and YouTube, Atlantic Television Network; Instagram and TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1; and on Twitter, Atlantic TV Net. Watch us live on our website, www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Do not forget, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching. I am Ogu Laurentia. Transition News comes up next. Do not go away.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are? Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that we did not believe of this minister and the government. Because I said you are annoying As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the